Welcome to the Vault Excel. This is the latest information pertaining to the president-elect. Lord, give us strength. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Andrew129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Prayers for LA County. I will try to bring you an update later this afternoon or evening pertaining to the wildfires, and also there is a current press conference pertaining to the New Orleans attack. Thank you for your time.
Special report.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We are coming on the air because President-elect Donald Trump has just been sentenced for his conviction in the criminal hush money case in New York, making him the first American president to be sentenced for a crime. This comes just 10 days before he takes the oath of office. Now, he will return to the White House as a convicted felon. Let's get to our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Aaron, Trump fought to the bitter end to prevent this sentencing from happening. He hoped the Supreme Court would save him too. Clearly, that didn't happen. You were in the courtroom. How powerful were Judge Merchan's words to Trump?
He sentenced Trump to an unconditional discharge, as he promised he would. He said it was the only lawful sentence he could impose to respect both the sanctity of the jury's verdict convicting Trump of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, and also the duties of president that Trump is about to undertake. But
how is this showing respect? The sanctity of what exactly? It's not the sanctity of the White House, and it's not the sanctity of the people, whether he was voted in or not. I'll read you that statement a bit later. It's bullshit. Not showing any respect to anybody. My thing is, if you felt like that, what would be the purpose of even giving a conviction? With no jail time, no probation. Makes no sense. No fine. This is just pure ignorance. Pure damn ignorance.
Kira, he took pains to tell him that he was treated like any other criminal defendant in this courthouse. It did not stop the president-elect from complaining that this had been a terrible experience. He came in virtually, sitting next to defense attorney Todd Blanche, whom he's nominated for a top post in the Justice Department, against a backdrop of 2 American flags. Just extraordinary to see the president-elect in that moment beaming into the courtroom virtually while the judge imposed the sentence. Trump listed his now familiar complaints about his treatment and the case, but prosecutor Josh Steinglass said the imposition of sentence cements Trump's status as a convicted felon, and it's with that moniker, Kira, he will enter the office of the White House. Kira?
Let's bring in our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl now. John, Trump has made it very clear that he doesn't respect this judge, saying Merchan was working really hard to try and embarrass him. Merchan's ruling, however, proving that no one, even the president, is above the law.
At least in this case, Kira, look, Donald Trump, on one hand, there's no punishment for this. He got convicted by a duly sworn jury after a criminal trial that looked like any other criminal trial in so many ways. I was in that courtroom for some of that trial. Donald Trump was compelled to be there. He had to sit at the defense table. He had to listen to the witnesses against him, all like a regular criminal defendant. But despite the fact that there is no actual punishment, what this does, as you heard from Aaron in the words of the judge, is it cements his status as a convicted felon, not just a convicted felon, but the only convicted felon to serve as president of the United States. Of course, the other trials for what many of Trump's critics would argue are much more serious allegations in the classified documents case, in the January 6th case, those are done. Those investigations are done. In large part and really solely because he was elected president of the United States, a convicted felon, not above the law in New York.
It's going to be a fascinating 4 years. John Carl, Aaron Katersky, thank you so much. Our coverage, of course, continues on the West Coast. That's for all of you watching Good Morning America. Also, you can continue to watch along with me on ABC News Live. Our David Muir is in Los Angeles for a special edition of World News Tonight. He will have the latest on the wildfire emergency in Southern California. I'm Kira Phillips. Have a good day.
This has been a special.
Hot butter mess. Well, Lordy, 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 have mercy, honey. I don't know what to say. But there's no sanctity. That judge, whether convicting him or not, still didn't choose the appropriate words. The sanctity is not an appropriate word to use. President-elect Donald Trump has been sentenced to unconditional discharge for his conviction last year on 34 charges of business fraud related to hush money payments to Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. What the sentence means. Unconditional discharge means Trump will not be in prison or face probation, but his conviction still stands and he will enter office as a convicted felon. Prosecutors had recommended the sentence. How are you saying that in court? That don't make no sense what you're saying. You prosecuted the man, then you heard to say, we must be respectful of the office. How are you being respectful of the office? What was the purpose of even bringing it forward? You all knew the timeline of going to court, and the man running for office, and then the man won the election. The court has now released an audio of today's sentencing, which was not allowed to be broadcast live by the media. The audio recording will provide an opportunity to hear Donald Trump speaking as he was sentenced for his hush money conviction, meaning he will enter the presidency as a felon but receive no penalties. President-elect Donald Trump doesn't have the same conditions as other convicted felons who have probationary periods, but instead has to maintain his role as president. CNN anchor Laura Coates said Donald Trump right now is in a league of his own for the reasons that my colleagues have described, but an unconditional release normally, if somebody is convicted of a crime and does not have a jail sentence imposed, a probationary period comes in, Coates said. Coates described responsibilities including checking in with a probation officer, engaging with drug testing, community service, in order to make sure that they don't have the ability to be actually brought into jail. Donald Trump doesn't have any of those conditions. The condition he now has is to maintain his role as the commander-in-chief and president of the United States. Mr. Trump will take office January 20th. The only lawful sentence that permits entry of a judgment or conviction without encroaching upon the highest office of the land is an unconditional charge, Mershon told Trump, and that was the judge. The sentencing which was expected means Trump will remain a felon, but faces no jail time penalties or probation for his conviction in hush money case. Mershon said this to Mr. Trump in court. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office, Mershon said in his final statement to Trump. Trump did not react as Mershon concluded the hearing. It says powers of the presidency are not able to erase a jury verdict, Mershon says. Judge Mershon says he need not repeat the aggravating factors that he has already articulated in his recent orders. However, the considerable, indeed extraordinary legal protections afforded the office of the chief executive is a factor that overrides all others, he said. They do not reduce the seriousness of the crime or justify its commission in any way, Mershon says of the legal protections for the office of presidency. One power they do not provide is the power to erase a jury verdict, says the judge. Mershon noted that voters ultimately decided to bestow Trump the protections of the office once again. Ordinary citizens do not receive those legal protections. It is the office of the president that bestows those to the office holder. It is the citizenry of this nation that recently decided that you should again receive the benefits of those protections, he says. It is the legal protections afforded to the office of the President of the United States that are extraordinary, not the occupants of the office, he said. Yeah, you're right, not the occupant. Mershon says that once the courtroom doors closed, I was not different from any other in the courthouse. Judge Juan Mershon said, never before has the court been presented with such a unique and remarkable set of circumstances. This has been a truly extraordinary case, he adds. The imposition of sentence is one of the most difficult and significant decisions that any criminal judge is called upon to make, Mershon adds. Mershon said he believes that Trump needs to hear his reasoning for his sentence, though he indicated his inclinations ahead of time. Now, naturally, Mr. Trump said he was innocent. The fact is, I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong. Donald Trump is insisting he is innocent at his sentencing hearing this morning. Ooh, the nerve. Lord have mercy. Donald Trump mentioned his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, referring to past remarks. He was allowed to talk like he was George Washington, but he's not George Washington, Trump said. See that? See? Still talking out of turn. Just crazy nonsense. Then he says they've been watching your trial, so they understood it, Trump said to the voters. It's like he's talking in third person. I don't know. Okay. President-elect Donald Trump said legal fees were not put down by him, but by his accountants. Legal fees were put down as legal expenses by accountants. They weren't put down by me. They didn't call them construction, concrete work, Trump said. They called them legal expenses a legal expense, and for this, I got indicted. It's incredible. Actually, it's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation. President-elect Donald Trump says. Donald Trump is going after the indictment and the charges of falsifying business records after he chose not to testify at trial. He said in court, this has been a very terrible experience. I think it's been a setback for New York and New York court system. This is a case that Alvin Bragg did not want to bring. And then his attorney, Todd Blanche, said it's a sad day for the U.S. Yeah, I guess it is sad. But still, there are no ramifications for Donald Trump. So is it really sad? It's not sad for him. Just sad that he has a convicted felon on his record, but he still goes into the White House. Todd Blanche says, I very, very much disagree with much of what the government just said about this case, about the legitimacy of what happened in his courtroom during the trial, and about President Trump's conduct fighting this case, Blanche says. Trump is looking forward while Blanche speaks next to him, not reacting. And pick for Deputy Attorney General. Just give me a little bit of what was said in court. They're going to release all that court hearing. But what is ridiculous is saying we must be respectful of the office of the presidency. There's no respect. There's no respect for the presidency. No, we're not equal. That's been proven. Although he got the sentence, but there's no respect. Can't say there's respect for the presidency. The judge, you said that doesn't make any sense what you're saying. You're contradicting what the sentence is. You can't say you have respect for the office, you have respect for the people. Don't matter that he was voted in. The point is you gave him this conviction rather, before he has taken office. He's not even in there yet. So there's no sanctity. See, it makes no sense. He's contradicting himself to Judge. Judge Mershon, you're contradicting yourself. There's no sanctity for the justice, the people, and the office. And that's my personal opinion. I will come back later with information pertaining to the wildfires, prayers for LA County, and also at the current moment, there's a press conference pertaining to the New Orleans attack. The chief, she's given a briefing pertaining to the actions of the police officers. I guess, explaining the protocol of the action that they took against Shamsuddin Jabbar on New Year's Day. So that's the latest information. No ramifications for Donald Trump, just that he is a convicted felon going into the White House for a second term. And no, there's no justice, there's no equality, there's none of that. Because the average person who becomes a felon, they would get some type of probation, fine, something. A jail term, jail sentence, prison sentence, and all this wrangling with this man for years. Waited too late. Waited too late. She's waited too damn late. It's just ridiculous. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeGanji, 129 Cash App, stickers and chats always welcome in the live stream. Thank you for your time. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app, where I give similar commentary. And that's that. This is a sad day. Indeed, it's a sad day. Not sad because he was sentenced. That's maybe in his mind, his lawyer's mind. It's sad. It's sad there's no justice. That's what's sad. Most people who know him well and personally knew him, know his tactics, his ways. Many people didn't know. People just knew of him as being a wealthy man in real estate, doing a reality TV show, but that's not knowing him, just like anybody. And now people got to see Donald Trump for what he is when he ran for office in 2016, his demeanor, his attitude, the way he treated the staff, members of the White House, the cabinet. He's very disrespectful, very honorary. He's a very vulgar individual. He's not even human. He's just vulgar. He's a vulgar creature. But this is who the people voted for once and then twice. And so that just tells me this is the attitude of the people that live here in the United States. You can't separate the two. A lot of people don't want to accept that. They don't like for you to say that. What do you mean? I say what I mean. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. You have to be of the same caliber. There's no way you can just keep justifying the behavior and the tone and the tongue of this creature. You'd have to admit you are cut from the same damn cloth. Well, what are you confused about? Can't keep making excuses. And this country ain't going to be off to a good start. It's already doomed. You got wildfires brewing. All these different jurisdictions in LA. All these people that's going to need help. Man, attacking people, mowing people down the first of the year in New Orleans. The man that's supposed to be running the country, babbling about wells and windmills and dripping faucets and shit. And this is who you want to lead you. And then he's already talking crazy about going to war with other people. Haven't even gotten to the White House and you're already talking about going to war. Who does that? Only a fool. Only a fool. So there's no sanctity for the White House, for the people. Because this is utterly disrespectful to anybody sane. That's been Donald Trump's problem. He's gotten a pass his entire life. Obviously, money can buy you a pass. You can get away with things. Maneuver the system, as we would say in the street, finesse. He's a finesser. But I tell you what, as I've always said, it's one thing to be a fool, but there is no comparisons to being an old fool. That's my commentary. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Stay warm. You have been listening to the